Now it's live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, birds in the sky, and fish in the sea. My name is Brian. Some people call me the Bro Builder, and this is the KotoKai Workbench number 167. It is dark out. Summer is late. It's not even that late in the day, but I miss the twilight. And I'm not alone, thankfully, because I get scared of the dark. I got, there we go. I got my friend Jeff with me.
Hello.
Removed him. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Thanks again for having me on.
So great to see your smiling face.
Har har.
Har har. Exactly. And yeah, here we are, another Thursday, and another fun week of modeling and life that we've all experienced. Ooh, what is up, Madam Creeping Freely for you too? Good to see you. She had a little episode. She does a interview series, and her interview with me was released today. So if you guys want to check that out, go look up Creeping Freely for you too. She's got a blog, I believe, a blog spot or something like that. Don't you, Jay? Chime it in the chat. It's 40-second delay or something, so we'll know here in half a minute or a minute. But we are not joined by Paul this evening because Paul is working and he's going out of town, so he's gonna be gone. Maybe we'll catch him next week. I sent out a few more invites to various other people in the squad or in the group of modelers that come on the show, and maybe somebody else will show up. But you're stuck with me and Jeff otherwise. Ha 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 ha!
My beautiful face.
It's a good thing we're so charming. Yeah, we both do the nerds laugh. Norman from the Nerds. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. Yep. But yeah, so here we are. We got a couple people out in the chat. Michael Valdez, of course, always chiming in early. How are you doing? That is the Playmo I feel bad. I talked to him, and I know I obviously I know him in the chat, but I'm drawing a blank, and I don't want to discount the man. Lorenz, what's up, Lorenz? How you doing? We are chilling like villains, macking and illin. So many chats. Go to your channel. Did you just change it over to your name, Michael? He have. He may have. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Obviously, Jeff, you're in the chat too. Good to see you out there, bud.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, and here we go. The blog spot is Creeping for Scale Models. I don't know if it's smiley face or not. It's included in that, but I'm gonna assume it's not appropriate.
Nice. So let's check that out.
Yeah.
Want to talk about the podcast episode?
Here we go. Student of the plot. There it is. Dang it all. All right. Hi. What's that?
So you want to talk about the podcast episode?
Which podcast episode? Oh, the one that we just had. Yeah.
Those guys have a podcast, I hear. And they talk about crazy stuff.
We have a podcast. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. It has been a doozy of a week. Wait a minute. What do we have here? Lorenz says just beat Baltus today, and I can still hear the missile warnings. Is that the tutorial boss for Armored Core 6? I haven't played any of Armored Core 6 yet. I will play that eventually, but I've been playing a little bit of Starfield because it's a little bit softer, and I could just like go to town and go and look and talk to a few citizens, and then go back and talk to the reporter, and that's all I have to do. I don't have to shoot anybody. It's wonderful. Wait. Jay says that the YouTube video is still being uploaded because it is taking forever. Been uploading since Tuesday night. My goodness. You get to give those hamsters that are powering your internet a little bit of extra kibble so they run a little faster.
upload via snail mail.
Yeah, right. For sure. 1 bit at a time, but it's carried by carrier pigeon. Uh, but yeah, the last podcast episode that we released, was it last weekend? It was last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, I only listened
That
to it yesterday.
yeah. I was on 3D printing. And Jeff, what do you got to say, buddy? Talk to me, Goose.
So I think it was a really great chat. I think there's a point that could have been pointed out. Um,
Mhm.
People who are making resin kits now are using CAD and 3D printing their CAD models and then making resin kits out of them.
Right.
And something I've noticed, like I've bought a few SH Studio and Stickler kits
Yep.
that
I got them too.
CAD programs give you, ultimate flexibility and ultimate freedom, right? Um, there can be a downside. It's possible to build features that, in the real world are impossible to sand. I've
Right.
run into that a couple times.
Yeah, I agree. And I was kind of thinking about that too a little bit here before about the bumpers and the corners of the Porsche body. I feel like they were a little bit into the model in the virtual world versus being into the reality of it because I
Yeah,
had to do it had seams that ran basically from this edge like down and then diagonally over the edge over all of the different bumps like over this height detail, like this raised detail right here on the
yeah.
edge. We'll focus. Yeah. So over all of this stuff, like right down the side, same thing back here, like right on the corner, over the hard part, like through the inner detail on the inside here for the tail light, down over the bumper, these lines. And I feel like that was maybe they were a little bit too into the model itself and they weren't too into the practicality of it. Because I think that's a little bit what you're touching on, right,
A little
Jeff?
bit,
Is
yeah.
the
That's injection molded though, right?
Yeah, that's injection molded.
Yeah.
But it was
So,
designed, I'm sure it was designed in 3D.
well, I bet you what happens is the people who design the model are not the same people who make the tooling.
Oh, sure.
Um, and then, the tool guy is his considerations are to make the tool that's going to release the best, last the longest, and cost the
Right.
least to build.
Yeah, the fewest amount of parts and the fewest
Yeah.
complications. Yeah.
So something get lost in the, how does the resulting injected molded part, how fun is it to build?
Right.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of the same thing with 3D printing. Like when in the, it's becoming quickly the old school days when resin kits were like the masters were built by hand,
Right.
right? Those guys would have the same challenges that the builder would have in, sanding and cleaning up and doing all that stuff. So it was probably less of an issue then. I think it all boils down to like you have so much freedom in CAD that you can do anything, but sometimes it's like I can do that. Should I do that? You know, and sometimes
Right.
that consideration doesn't have the priority that it needs.
It's the old Dr. Malcolm from Jurassic Park. They were too busy worried whether or not they could. They shouldn't have worried whether they should have. Damn
Yeah.
it. Right. William Williams chimes in, says 3D printing is great. The argument that he was waiting to hear on that podcast was if competition should or should not allow the 3D printed models. And that's kind of like up to the contest people. But yeah, that is an argument that we've kind of had and flitted back and forth with on a couple of different, we kind of skirt around it because a lot of these guys get hung up on part counts and a lot of these guys get hung up on, they think it's easy take a 3D printed something or other, and because it has a lot of detail baked into it, they think that that makes it easy, which is just based solely in ignorance, as having dealt with lots of different kinds of resin casted things and some level of 3D printed stuff. Jeff, what do you think about that?
Well, as
Uh,
someone who's struggling with it right now, I do not agree because
yeah,
we'll see soon later.
yeah, here in a bit later on. That's yeah. I think that they should allow it because all models nowadays are 3D printed or not, or 3D, the masters or the basics are 3D printed, and then that is given to, like Jeff was saying, like to the tool maker. So they're designed in 3D. A lot of times they're printed out, test printed to see, fitment and stuff like that, which there's a level of fudge to it because your 3D print quality, though I'm sure that these guys have the fucking highest end 3D printers, right? so they probably don't have to worry about different types of resin shrinking or whatever it might be, atmospheric condition kind of crap.
Well, I can give you an example of something that unfortunately I don't have a picture to show of it. Um, that big Zaku I did, and I'm having a brain
Mhm.
block of who did the design.
It was based on, was it Proco, or who was it based on? Hang on.
It was based on, yeah, it was based on a line art done by an artist out in
Yeah,
Winter
I like
Red.
that. That artist is real crazy, very stylistic, very fun.
Yeah, I'm just gonna find the name. I don't know why it's escaping me right now. Lootbox. Lootbox did the big Zaku model, and in the crotch there's a section with a massive pipes that are all, they're not intertwining, but it's a closely grouped set of pipes that weave
Uh
back
huh.
and forth, and it's all printed as one part. And on a resin printer, you need supports for things, right? And
Oh
it
yeah.
was pretty difficult to print that. Actually, it was impossible to print that part without having supports deep inside this massive pipes.
Uh huh.
So cleaning up, I think I have to reprint that part.
Right.
Cleaning up was a pain.
Got you. So I have a Geth figure that I got from Mass Effect. If you're familiar with the Geth, it's actually Legion. Where is that little box? That box is buried. I'm not going to dig that up. There's a bunch of models on top of that. But it's a single print. It's 3D printed little bust. It's probably close to 75 millimeters tall, but it's really big scaled comparatively.
Right.
But those creatures, they're like robot human, they're like biomechanical kind of guys, and they have like a hole that runs straight through the inside of them. And I couldn't tell when I was starting to do the cleanup on it what was supposed to be a cable inside this robot monster thing, or what was supposed to not be there. It was just a resin support.
Right.
So not the same level of size for print as your that massive Zaku monster, but
Right. But that
cool.
that part I'm talking about is probably in this, around the same scale of what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's just,
So,
it's not a huge part.
mhm. So what did you end up doing did you end up printing that? You said you're gonna reprint it, but what are you gotta
Well, I'm going to
slice it up,
reprint it
or?
because I screwed up the cleanup. What I
Oh,
might do when I reprint it is bring it into CAD and
hmm,
separate out the hoses. Um,
sure.
maybe. I don't know.
Like
I haven't really thought about it yet.
a solid part, or
Yeah,
like.
so it's a solid part that at both ends of this bundle of hoses,
Mhm.
right? And then the hoses go in between. It's kind of a bad description, but say an L-shaped piece of resin with a hose bundle between one end of the L and the opposite
Mm-hmm.
end.
I got you.
And I mean, loot box, like he printed it. He must have noticed that there was a problem. I mean, it could have been
Right.
addressed. And he's been really good at responding to people, in the Patreon who have issues with the prints, and he's redesigned parts. Just nobody raised that. Maybe I should.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, but he's long moved on from that model. He's done like 5 or 6 since.
Was it supposed to be printed that size as well, or?
Oh yeah, I didn't do any scaling on it.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah,
You just did a bunch of cleanup and redesigning on parts and smoothing, vectoring, and all that jazz.
yeah. The
Uh,
the side skirts I did some mechanical changes, but
yeah.
for the most part, it's just the way he designed it.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm also the head. The head on the original model is very small, so I made it bigger.
Cool. Yeah, it was pretty small. That's kind of part of the design too, the way that it is designed in
It
the
is, but
drawing.
it's my model, man.
Hey man, I'm with you. I am with you 100%. Do not. I'm always making things bigger. I'm always making the necks longer because, gosh, who knows? Why do I think that things should have longer necks? Maybe it's because I got a long neck. I don't know. Hey, Julius Dempsey, how you doing out there? Good to see you in the chat. Welcome to the show. It's me and Jeff. We're talking about models. Um, but yeah, and I do that too. Like I was thinking about the Zaku Warrior. I just saw a photo of that earlier today when I was scrolling through pics and sending stuff off to a compatriot. And yeah, and saw that and thinking back to that. We need to finish that build. I think Kyle mentioned it last stream. But yeah, how much extra stretcho I did on that model, because I did the same thing when I did the full city. I made it all so much bigger because I was just like, this ain't right.
Yeah.
And it looks better. I mean, like all these little subtly scaling, and then that's my opinion, obviously. Like, fuck, noses, assholes, we all got them. They both smell or stink. You know what I'm saying? They both smell. um, terrible jokes, terrible. And I have no kids too, so I have nothing. There's no reason for me to have all these dad jokes.
Well, my kids are all grown.
Yeah, but you're a veteran. That means you've been through the war.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's a good segue to something. Hold on.
Oh,
This so my lovely visage here. I'm not really camera friendly, but I have a
he's a
picture of
liar.
me
Oh yeah,
from 1989, I think.
sweet. I was in the heart of my model making. Look at this man.
Yeah,
Woo!
that was me. I was a combat engineer in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Look sharp. Not a man with whom to fuck.
Yep, nowhere near that pretty now.
Well, it's been 30-ish years, 30 plus years. So
Yeah,
yeah,
35 years.
yeah. Ugh, that's
Anyway,
right.
enough
I'm
of that.
I'm
Enough of
44.
that. Whoop.
No longer. Uh, no longer like 9, 10. I'm 44. But that's okay. Keep moisturizing. You'll stay looking beautiful. Um, Julio, get on the stream, you wise guy. Says he looks like he gave Gomer Pyle a rifle. Whoa. Lorenz says it wasn't conceived in 1989. I was building models then, man. I was at the height of building models. I was building like Dale Earnhardt NASCARs. I was building freaking like fighter jets, F-16s, F-18s, building Apache helicopters, building old street rods. Oh, dude, model making is so fun. Julio says, "What up?" Hello, Julio. We already told you should get on the train. And Jonlin says, "Oh shit, young Jeff, way before I was born."
So I was big into model making through the late 70s and into the early 80s.
Mhm.
But way before YouTube.
Yeah,
The
of course.
resources to learn how to do it, not crappy,
Yeah,
just weren't there. And
word. I hear you.
I built
Same.
all the Star Wars models, the Battlestar Galactica models.
That's kick ass though. I didn't
Then
have any of the access to any of that though, so I'm
oh yeah,
jealous as fuck.
yeah, but like this was before high school or just at high school. So you
Yeah.
kid who does dumb shit with models. Let's set them on fire and throw them across the
Oh
backyard and
sure. Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah. All
that
mine are
fun
gone.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Sucks.
what happened was in maybe 82. I got
Mhm.
a Polar Lights Enterprise from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and the
Right.
model was crap.
Of course. Yeah,
It was
they're
just
kind of notorious back then, right?
it was so frustrating to get the things to fit together, and I just put down modeling. And then
Right.
in '84, when I was 17, I joined the military, and modeling went away. Didn't come back until I don't know 2015, so almost 8 years ago.
Wild, man. Cause
Yeah,
yeah, I put my first together. I must have been 86, I think it was 85, 86. I was like 6 or 7 when I put my first little snap together model. And I thought that was real cool. And I flew that plane all over the fucking house. And my parents were like, wow, this is amazing. We didn't think this would actually take off. So I got another one and it just kind of kept going. But yeah, I think I was done by 92. I think I had stopped making models because I was interested in other shit. And my final thing was I had got the like 350th scale Cuddy Sark, I think it is,
right.
which is a like 3 mast, like 20 sails, like all this rigging and all this crazy shit. And I was having a good time putting it together, and I was really stoked to make it really fucking cool because I was really excited about it. And then the rigging got tied into an impossible knot,
Oh yeah,
and and then I started to try to cut out these because they're just vacuum formed sails, So I'm
Yep.
cutting these vacuum form sails out, and they just look, they just look like they're vacuum form sails. They look plastic, they look bad. And I'm just my soul, just in my heart, not my soul, but my heart for the whole project just sank and sank and sank and sank. And I was like, yeah, I think girls are pretty cool.
I only did sci-fi
So,
stuff ever.
oh right. See, we didn't, like I said, I didn't have access to any sci-fi stuff. I didn't even hardly have access to like tanks or anything like that. So I couldn't even really build armor. It was just like classic cars and monster trucks and like sports cars and like jets and all that kind of shit. So yeah, I built like an A10 and a F16 and an F14 and an F18 and an Apache and a Harrier, which was rad because it was like tied in and it had the you could move the vector ailerons on the bottom and the wing. Like, oh, oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that thing was so cool. Dude, that was so freaking all right, Kile.
Okay,
Jumping in. Yeah, those were so, and I'm so. That's the thing. Like the sci-fi models, they just did not exist out there at all. Like um, no polar lights. What was another one of the ones that was here? Aurora. It was out here in Brooklyn at the time. Like no
Yep.
Aurora. Yeah, there was no nothing out there, and it sucked because I would have like ate that shit up. 'Cause that was my shit,
Yeah, and there's no internet to order shit.
No kidding, right? And if you
Yeah.
could find something, and I did order a couple of things, like I got, my stepdad was into World War II, so I got into like doing planes a lot and that kind of jazz. So obviously built a lot of old planes too. That I didn't name them off because I don't need to go through all the models I made. But I got it. I actually ordered a like balsa set where you would build this like balsa. I got a 109, a BF 109 Messerschmitt,
Oh yeah.
and like big plans, lay it out, cut, you like have like parts were either like like I don't know if they were laser or they were probably die cut back then. But yeah,
Probably.
you would just like punch all these parts out and start to try to put it together, and it just became like way overwhelming as well.
Well, yeah,
But I
that was
wanted
almost
to.
like building something that would actually fly.
Yeah, right. And I didn't have like the whole mechanical. I mean, right now I've spent my whole life working in construction fabrication and all that stuff, so I have that knowledge like baked in now. It's second nature to me now to just like
Yeah.
be able to work through it and be able to do it all and understand there is a reason that all of those notches have to be cut properly and have to be sanded out right, and why it matters for all that. It takes time. But yeah,
Those balsa models would be pretty neat to set on fire and throw across the backyard.
dude, right? I know.
It was were the skins just paper or
Yeah, it was just
were they
tissue paper, and
doped?
it wasn't even included. It was just tissue paper.
Were the
They're like,
skins doped with the whatever that doping compound that?
no, it was just like you bought the frame, and then if you wanted to skin it, you could put like tissue paper on it.
Okay. I don't know
It's
what
just
dope actually is, but when people would build RC planes, they would. I think like in the old wooden and fabric planes, they did the same thing. They had some
right.
substance that they put on it that like made it waterproof and probably shrunk it
Yeah,
tighter onto the frame, but
yeah, it
super
helps
flammable.
the right.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
did the light it on fire and throw it across backyard, it'd be like the Hindenburg going
yeah.
across your
Just
backyard.
before you even get the fly, it's just a ball. So I'm guessing. So the Hindenburg's issue was that it was basically thermite, right? Also, like
Yeah, I
the
mean, it wasn't
it was
actually
iron.
thermite, but the components of thermite were in there,
It
as
was
I
basically
understand it,
close enough to be able to mix together to make the thermite.
to make it super
Yeah,
flammable. Yeah.
yeah. And thermite is wild. If you've ever played with thermite, you're crazy. I've seen it played with a little bit when I was a metal worker and doing wild stuff here, but yeah, I never wanted to fuck with that shit. There was this guy that I used to not really run around with, but he was part of the crew at the metal shop. He lived in my building when I moved to the city. His name was Button, and he was a wild man. He used to do crazy art where he would like burn through several different layers of mirror and get all these weird drips and stalagmites of like molten glass and molten stainless and all this stuff. And then like, yeah, it was just really weird. But he like burned a bunch of holes in a bunch of parking lots in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it definitely
This
makes
stuff
your day sad.
it doesn't go out.
No.
You have to wait until it burns itself out, and it's kind of like alien blood, where it'll just kind of burn straight down through anything.
I've seen videos of the in the current war in Ukraine, and the Russians are using thermite-based incendiary bombs.
Jesus.
Cutting right through armor.
They just rain thousands of blobs of burning thermite into, a civilian
God.
population center. It's pretty horrible.
That is
So,
horrific, man.
Yeah.
One of the things we used to have an issue with in the desert with insurgents were, so obviously they use IEDs, which are like artillery rounds that they would rig up to make explosives with. But then they got smart and they started using what were called EFPs, which are basically like shape charge rounds. So they take a copper disc,
Yep.
have a explosive device behind it, and then it would be concave, so the explosion would then force it the opposite direction and then make a molten copper bullet, and that thing would shred through armor.
Yep.
You'd have 2-inch armor just get like butter. And
Whoa.
what was the worst part about it was not only just was it armor piercing, but due to temperature changes, because it was like 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit that the copper, molten copper was at. If you would have anything that was like 10 degrees difference from what it was transitioned to, it would immediately rapid cool and then shatter into pieces. So not only would it penetrate the armor, it would just turn into shrapnel instantaneously and just obliterate everything in its vicinity. I was like, damn, for people living in mud huts, they are quite
Oh yeah. They had the internet.
Yeah.
Pabs is giving you a hard time. He says he can't hear you because you're on the floor.
Oh, yeah, I'm using the headphone because I'm laying on the floor. I'm replacing my LCD screen on my little GameCube.
Oh, okay.
So I figured
Upgrade or
I could, yeah. It's going from an RGB screen to a mono screen.
talk
Nice.
about it briefly.
So yeah, it's a bit of an upgrade. It's still going to be like 2K resolution, but it's better than what it was, and it means faster cure times and.
The new high end ones are what, 12K or?
No,
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
12Ks
you
are
get
starting to come out.
12Ks, but
I've
on
seen
average, most of them are 8K on the market.
right. Mine's the one you got me, Kyle. Thank you again. Is a 4K, and I'm excited as heck to be able to get to use that here within
I
the
know,
next
I
few
can't wait.
months.
I can't wait to see what you print out.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I'll get a chance to I really get to knuckle down and finish up like the shed and taking care. There's a bunch of stuff we still got to take care of around the house that this is very important
Winter's
stuff
right
for us
around the
to do.
corner.
Dude, I know.
What's the shed like in the winter?
It's not bad. The floor is insulated. I have the seaward wall insulated, and the window wall and the seaward wall is insulated. I just did the shed roof and skylight this summer.
Right.
So this will be the first winter and I did the soffits and everything else. Like I buttoned up the roof essentially. Last year the roof was kind of loose. We'll say
Drafty?
it was drafty to say the least. But now it's really well buttoned up. It's not fully insulated yet. I have a bunch of insulated panels in there that I'm gonna it's just like polystyrene board that I'm just gonna put up on the roof to help insulate a little bit on the roof side, mostly on the north side because that's the shadow side. Yeah, and I have to put up more insulation on the wall. So right now it's just full of tools and still personal effects from us taking over the house and stuff like that. So there's a lot of time and a lot of struggle and stress that has to go into sorting out some of that stuff. But otherwise, shed's fantastic.
Right, that reminds me. I have to send you this.
Oh, nice. That's right.
The F4 books I got you. So I got.
Yeah. Gosh, that's been a while.
I know. Well, I
No,
was
don't
supposed to
stress
go out
it.
with the printer.
Well, I know you knocked the printer out of the park. I wouldn't stress that at all.
A little detour there. Yeah, I'll get it out probably tomorrow or Saturday.
Whatever.
I completely forgot those were sitting in the same box. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta send this to Brian.
Speaking of winter, I'm on a time crunch now because the only space I have enough space to work on that big head is in the garage. And yeah. So we had really super hot weather around Labor Day, and now it's like blanc. It's getting cold
Trying to get
quick.
the chill.
Yeah.
It's been in the 60s for us this past week or so, which hasn't been bad. I'm enjoying it.
Julia Stemsky, you are
Always
correct.
nice.
Completed shed means all sorts of mold making and stuff can start to happen again. So I have been there's lots of stuff that's going to go into that, and I'm actually very excited to have that stuff sorted out. I put in a bunch of time. It's weird. It's like I almost have the lion alpha lion kind of like mentality with some of the stuff, or approach, I guess. Maybe not mentality, but approach to it, where like brief periods of intense labor followed by long periods of extreme rest. So
I'm like a bear.
I'll crack
I'm
out real hard on
hibernating.
that shit and work for like, a week or two on it, and then I'll rest for like 6 to 9 months on working on the shed. And it's slowly getting done, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like my most intense stuff was really getting the roof together and sealing up a bunch of the like cracks, and getting prepped for that kind of, winterization, weatherization. This guy.
Now to test my hard work to see if I put it all back together correctly.
Fire extinguisher standing by.
Yep. That's a little bit of spark. I guess I'll just use this plug since it's close.
For those of you that are somewhat new to the channel and maybe aren't remember all of the crazy shit that I have like logged up in my brain hole, but I'm working on a project with Julius Stemsky, Julius there in the chat, which is going to be really freaking cool. I haven't made molds in a while. I've been talking about it more and more lately with the various people that I interact with on the internet, and I'm stoked on it, and I miss it. Thinking about all the cool material science stuff that goes into it, and it's a really cathartic, especially once you get the system down for making like that type of stuff.
Well, that sounds good. Fan kicked on. All the lights kicked on.
We're in Kyle's salon right now. He's giving someone a blowout.
So, tell me about Jimmy.
It's Jimmy.
I don't know, some boy that she's been talking to.
I got you.
That's where all the gossip is.
Wild,
in the
man.
salon.
Wild.
Let's see if the C
let's
drive
see.
still works.
So I have been working on some stuff. Worked on more of the car. Worked on both the cars. So I'll take a little second because Jeff's gonna have a fantastic show, and my stuff's kind of boring-ish, so I'll just show my shit first.
Nah.
Brian is on his wizard game. I'm always on.
Hey, the LCD works.
Congratulations, guy.
Got lights.
So
As great as I remember it, though.
this weekend I put in a lot of time on the interior of the car. I mostly tried to do get that sorted out as much as possible so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. Wrap up the Porsche. It's gonna be fantastic. I feel like it came out pretty well. So here's what it looks like. My face off it, so it'll focus on the Porsche interior. It looks pretty good.
Luxury.
I went for the brown tone that Paul was talking about a little bit with the camel style. You can see the gauges in there look pretty nice. The dash came out really actually quite good. Even though it doesn't want to focus on it. Maybe if I zoom it way in, and it'll like take over. No, it's not going to. Anyways, so I'm gonna be posting. Oh, there we go. I got all the little references from the internet. Kyle, this is so loud. I'm muting you, Kyle.
Sorry.
and yeah, I got all the little details from the internet, and yeah, it looks real nice on the inside. I filled in the backs of the seats. There's like a little bit, you can see a little bit of a crack on the passenger side.
Oh no.
Barely, which is fine. I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter. It's the interior of a car, so it's cool. But I feel like it looks really good. I'm pleased with it. I did a little bit of panel lining. I finally got some Tamiya panel liner, and I've been using it to great effect. I want to get more colors because I only have black now, and the black is like really strong. Let's see, what else did I do? I worked on the DeLorean a bit. I went back in. I had to do some more. So here's the dash for the DeLorean.
Right.
I had to do some more work on the top here, smoothing that out because that's all custom parts and it's made out of multiple parts because it's all super duper fine plastic. But to add this like lip, because it has like it's actually a piece of sheet metal inside, like a piece of aluminum. Like if you look at the designs and that stuff. So yeah, that needed to be refined, and then I had to go back through and repaint the whole thing again. So this is the actual intermediate blue that Mission Models puts together. It's the right color blue that the car is supposed to be on the interior. Now, when I originally did the work on it, I didn't have that color. I just made it. I looked it up on my phone and I mixed up a vial of it. And this is a really dusty. Where's the clean one? Here we go. This is the clean one. This is the color that I came up with. So obviously it's like highlighted and made all dramatic and shit. I highlighted it with a little bit of extra gray. It's a little bit darker, but it looks pretty good, right? I'm gonna leave the doors because these are the same doors. But like you can see how the seat and the highlight color are pretty darn close to each other. So the seat was painted with the new color paint. So I feel like I did a pretty good job of color matching. That's pretty cool. Feeling good about that. I made it out of a bunch of colors too. So that is a little bit of a like feather in the cap for color mixing.
You are a master paint mixologist.
No, I'm not. I got lucky and I made the right color. It's very easy to F that stuff up. So, but I think really other than that, I haven't really done much. I mean, we talked about the Porsche. I think I showed it off before. The color is good on the Porsche. I have a little bit of a hot spot right here that I have to touch up. So I'm going to touch that up and get that clear on that. And hooray. And that's the Bob's your uncle. Well, actually, no, that's not true because I have to mask the vent, the spoiler, the bumpers, the side bumpers. I got to do the glass work and then all of the trim around all the windows. Not done yet. Hooray.
So I've got a little gadget that remotely connects to your phone and has a little scanner in it. I'll show it when I'm showing the big head. So you can scan a color and it comes up with RGB and hex numbers and all that. And I'm sure you could convert that into percentages of colors.
True, but you would need the right kind of color balance, like color match for your own base to start with.
Sure, the material you're mixing.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the red? Is it cad red? Is it like alizarin crimson? Is it what is the one red there? I can't remember what it was. There's this one red that is often used. It's like super strong pigment red.
Yeah, I mean it could be a tool to aid, but it's not a magic solution to anything.
True, but no, you're right because it's what it'll give you, and what you're right on there, Jeff, is that it'll give you ratios or at least an approximation of ratios. So you're gonna know you're gonna need about this much red, about this much blue, whatever it might be, which is cool.
Yep.
Question: tinted shades. I wonder how it deals with that. I'm supposed that baked into this application, the scan application, where you can like scan the color or whatever. It'll probably help you or lead you to a tint shade value as well, because light darks, and then how do you make it light, how do you make it dark? Did you make it light with white? Did you make it light with yellow? Did you make it light with light green or light blue? Or so it's
right.
There's so many. Colors is deep. We got to do another color episode on the podcast. Kyle, strap your learning hat on.
Ready. Also, tabs sparsely. I don't think you used that word correctly. I understand you're using it in a sense of being self-aware of where you are in your presence. I assume no one could hear me because you were bitching and moaning about my microphone. So I'm sorry I made squeaky noises.
Oh,
yeah, that sensor's called Nix, and so I have like the hobbyist versions, the cheapest one, but they go up to like scientific level of accuracy. So they would probably cover values and stuff too.
That's rad, man. Yeah. Good one.
Does it provide you like a single color, or does it give you like a hey, could be this kind of thing, like a Sherman-Williams kind of color match software?
Actually, in the version I have, you can actually ask, what is this color in like 20 different manufacturers' paint. It'll pick the one that's the
Nice.
closest.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's
That's
all
where it
it's
comes
all
in
house
handy.
paint, right?
Yeah, it's not
Right.
going to do you much good in the hobby sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially those ones like Bear or whatever, where they like, that's just a thing that they plug a code, they punch a code into a machine, and the machine is like, I know what to do. Silly
A little
human.
bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, splash some white in
Right.
there, blam,
Yeah.
you got red. You're like, what?
Yeah, I went to Home Depot and I said, can you guys mix a color based on an RGB value? And they said no, they have to scan a physical object.
Yeah, they have like pre-programmed things. I think I don't think it's Sherman-Williams. One of the other ones can. I'm trying to think what the other paint manufacturer, the local paint shop is.
Benjamin
Sherman-Williams.
Moore.
Yeah,
Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin Moore.
Bear,
I think they can do it
um,
off of RGB
yeah.
values.
Cool. Yeah, if you pay for the more expensive version, you can get like a Pantone numbers and all that stuff.
Ooh,
Nice.
tree shoot.
Yeah.
Fancy.
But I wasn't willing to fork out that amount of cash.
So I can know which of my wife's makeup to steal to make the color happen, which is righteous.
Yep.
What do we have? Julius Dempsey says, Chris Pabs, I'm finally putting your model prep, sanding, and primer and painting tips to use on an MG Sniper 2. Thanks again. Throw that one up on the screen.
Tips? I could probably use some tips.
Must sand and prime your kit at least 12 times over at a minimum.
We do a lot, yeah. It's 12 is a high, but you definitely many rounds, and that's for sure. I think at the time Chris and I were talking about
do it right.
Well, Chris and I were talking about doing the Sinanjus, and I was doing the custom or the Neos Youngs, the little SD Neos Youngs. Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about at the time. And
Yeah,
it's just
the SD
like
build off.
so much, yeah. Which I mean, I'm glad I finished it way after the fact, but
I
it's
mean,
just a cool little model.
Also we forget to think about who was.
Oh, I don't.
hosting
I
that.
try to forget to think about those jokers.
Yeah.
That was a whole
Always-
ball of wax, man.
Always kind of a fun. God damn! I didn't know I had so much resin packed into this build plate. I'm trying to unscrew these bolts because I'm putting a new a different leveling system on this.
Okay.
Which I was going to include with this when I was going to send it to you, Brian, because I was like, well, the old build plate, I don't like the ball joint configuration. So I want to do the 4-point post instead. I feel like that's a lot more.
So you were going to send me a whole ass project as well, huh?
Well, you love projects. So I
Like,
don't think you'd be upset
figure
by
this
that.
one out. Well, I mean, I do, but
Well, no, it has instructions. It has instructions. You wouldn't be left high and dry. But I figured,
I
why
would be able
give
to
you
figure it out.
the crappy thing when I have the kit for the upgraded version? So look you up.
Cool.
Now
Well, I
I'm
appreciate
circling back on that. Well, I did get you the upgraded version. It's the Mono X.
Yeah, exactly.
So I figured I don't really want to work on my build tonight. So let's put some time into getting this printer back up and running.
What are you working on again, Kyle?
I am working on a little side project of I have it next to me so I can show you guys. The what they call it, the Goof flight type.
Nice.
I decided to just grab it one day and start scribing and detailing it up and all that shit. And boys have been helping me color in Explosion. I gotta really put some better tones in this because it's supposed to be more earth moving and smoke than actual like burning material. So it's not actually supposed to be like smoke. It's supposed to be just dirt being flung in the air essentially, because it's like the premise of the diorama is he is dodging the explosion. So he's like going in for the assault, taking a heavy fire, and then explosions like a near miss, but he's still on the attack while evading this near miss. Cool. I'm channeling Armored Core, even though I haven't played the new one whatsoever. But all that fast-paced robo action got me into a mood. I was like, cool, I want to do this instead of paint. and I have been enjoying it. It's fun getting back into actually like build or not building, but modifying. There we go, modifying kits rather than just cleaning and painting.
Yeah. Jay says, "Nice to see you, Kyle."
Yeah, good seeing you too.
Some seeing something a little different. I have to. I have a lot of stuff to paint. That's where I am.
I'm getting to that point where I have no choice but to paint what I have. But I figured I wasn't enjoying the process of prepping Unit 2 for the Cerulean project, and I started painting some parts, and it was kind of boring. I was just like, I don't really want to do this. So, and I looked at the kit. This was built many years ago. It was soon I was like, I want to build that. I want to do something with that. So I grabbed it and went ham on it.
That's all right.
As they say, that's all they wrote. That's
Well,
how
like it's
they
like they
go.
say, strike while the iron is hot. So
Yeah, I mean, I do this for fun. So if I'm not enjoying it, I tend to not give my best effort. So
right.
might be
So
more good.
I didn't intend on the Porsche being my Cerulean build, but it looks like it's going to end up being the one that I put in Cerulean.
Hey,
Which is okay because it
convenient,
looks fucking nice. It looks really nice. So, I have I originally started with the Spartan for
Mhm.
it. And here's the Spartan. And Julius was talking about his right here, talking about the MG Sniper 2.
Yep.
Get this thing full screen. That's the base for this. And I am very excited still to finish this, but I know that there's going to be more to it than I wanted to do. I had an idea to use this and the Dingo and a Jagan, and then started to modify the Jagan too because it's really like squirrel kind of a mentality when it comes to shit.
I get
And
that all too well.
yeah, and the foot fell apart too. And for those that want to know, this is the Sim Pro unavailable Sim Pro Spartan upgrade for the Gym Sniper 2. But I have this whole plan to do like a strike team out of the three of them, and then make them kind of go together and do this whole like themey kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I just don't have the time to put into it right now, and the energy to really give it what I want it to be. So I think that what I'm going to be doing is using that for something else that's going to be coming up within the next year, and put that time into a longer, make like a little, maybe make like a little diorama, for it too.
Mhm.
So I've been collecting some. Whew, all right, put that foot back together. Put it away. Um, I've been collecting like different like branches and stuff specifically for the way that they're like shaped in that kind of jam, so that I can of like different like green stuff from around. I live on the beach,
Mhm.
and like
Just building your bits box.
yeah, well,
Box
yeah, sort of, but
scenery.
it's like here, it's like these things here. I've got some right here that are like super duper dried out, but like twisted,
Ah,
like weird branches and
driftwood.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like just like weird little like plants. Just cut them down, dry them out. But they look good. Like this is like perfect scale log. It's just like a stick, but it's clean. Namely, it's clean because it doesn't have like the regular trappings of like bugs and shit that you'll find when you go
Mhm.
out, because of the way that it was selected and how I've treated everything. But I've got like some big stuff too that I have to still manage. Anyways,
You don't
so
want the
take
to
that stuff.
scale Kaju to be part of your diorama?
I do, yeah. No. But yeah, so to use that as, I have options for scaling. So I can take these guys and do the thing that I love to do, where I take the gigantic robot and I break the scale on it and I make it look like it's just a dude in a suit of armor, like I did with the Stein. Know what I mean?
I had an
Mhm.
idea once where you'd take a high grade grandpa, and there's those decals for wood paneling for like really old airplanes and stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You do up the grandpa and that stuff, and you make it like a scarecrow in a little field full of corn or something. And but you put LEDs in the eyes, like red LEDs in the eyes, and then there's a little path in front of it, and there's a little figure of a kid and a dog running their asses away from this scarecrow with the red eyes.
Gotcha. Interesting. You're talking about breaking the scale too, right? Like you would have it be like, what would it be?
Yeah, it
sizes
would
for
look like
kids?
a normal scarecrow kind of scale thing.
Right, because the high grade is they're fairly small, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Somewhat.
could have like 35th scale probably.
I was
It'd be
wondering
bigger,
that.
but yeah.
35th scale would be pretty small, wouldn't it? I have a whole pile of them right here. I could just grab.
Oh yeah,
some
what
if
am I
you want.
thinking? Not 35th scale.
24th scale? Not even. That'd still be small.
Yeah, 24 scale could
12?
be. It would still be big.
12.
Yeah, 12.
It'd have to be a 112. I would say, at least. There's not a lot out there for 112, is there?
Not that I
I
know.
don't
of.
know. Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
above 24, and I'm like, I don't know how many figures they make for those.
Well, you
for
could.
that
Well,
size.
you could kind of do something. Well, you could maybe do something in like the 75 millimeter range, or like that's still kind of somewhat smally.
Yeah, you would have to go bigger than that. Oh, what the hell?
So you guys
Yeah,
have
it's,
taken the idea further than I ever did.
Oh man, come on.
Something
the
that's
point.
flashed
Ideas
into
are
my head one day and is
Brother,
visible.
ideas are free.
Yeah.
Ideas are
Well,
free. That's the best
We
thing.
like
and it's
your
cool.
idea, so
And
we're going to contemplate.
and ideas are transient. So like our conversation now is gonna like somebody else here, like Craig Flynnberger. Thank you for showing up, buddy. Good to see you. I was just talking about you with Julian Hosmer the other day. You guys are both Aussies. And Chris Collins showed up too. Hey Chris Collins, how you doing down there in Texas? But like, our conversation is gonna get someone else to have a conversation with their buddy, and then that buddy is gonna have a conversation with another group of people out having a beer, and it's just gonna, it grows. So
And
someday you're
they'll
gonna
tell
see that
friends,
shit. You'd
and
be
they'll
like,
tell two friends,
oh,
and so on. And
yeah,
so
dude, that's how it
Kevin
is.
Bacon
Two friends,
effect.
two friends, baby. It's cool.
3 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Actually, I think that they did the scientific research on that. I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about it. They did the research on it, and literally everyone is like about 6 degrees away from each other, no matter what. Like just because of the way the world works. It's
Internet stalkers rejoice.
Yeah, it isn't even like you're not even Kevin Bacon, baby.
Man, these
funny.
bolts are fucking seized.
You were saying that. Oh, so Chris Collins says he's enjoying some non-100 degree days this week.
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
down in Austin.
Relief.
Why?
Well, it's okay. You guys are going to have shitstorm winters again, like you did last year. You got Snowmageddon down in Texas.
Oh no!
It was
You're-
crazy.
No, tell me no.
I
don't wanna
thought
fuck
it,
with
but
them.
I didn't say it because let Chris enjoy the relief.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh.
Chris. Didn't mean to bring bad juju on you.
Yo, I heard that,
Oh, there's
Flynn, that
some-
the spring has a sprung down in Australia. It's time to get your mowers out of the shed and tune them up. I was lamenting. I raked this evening before I lit up the grill for Colleen and I to cook, and I raked those leaves in the yard today. It was a little bit sad, not gonna lie. Yeah, man, I hear you. It gets so wild here because I'm on the shore, the ocean. Hello, the ocean. So the wind is psychotic. It's just psychotic. I don't know. That's all I gotta say. It's crazy.
What do you think?
It
we
wouldn't
move
be
to the big head?
crazy.
What do you think if we move to the big head?
Yes. Big head update.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so what has happened since the last time I was on is all sanding and priming, and I'll show that in a second. But I made a new feature for the head, and so what I will do is so many windows. So here's the chest and head in CAD. And just to sort of locate us, we're obviously in this area here. So what I wanted to do is pop over here. When I made the neck piece for it, it's part of the whole torso. This is all one part, right? And so what I did originally was I just sort of chopped it off right about here, printed it out. And as I was mentioning yesterday, I was having issues when the head was tilted down. I don't think I could show the whole cheek together because it would hit the table and knock the piece off.
Gotcha.
So what I did was I decided I want this whole section here as the base, right? But as you can see, this is angled here.
Yeah, that's not a clean. Unless you would just like cut it and then extrude down and just make it a block.
Yeah. So what I did was I basically traced around the perimeter that I wanted, right? And let me pop that in there and cut a column straight through.
Cool. Yeah, you did that. Or I guess yeah. So I'm used to SolidWorks, so that's why I'm. So okay. So cool.
Yeah. And then, I could have gone here and measured where do I want to cut it and cut it in CAD, but I figured, I can let the slicer do that. So here we are in the slicer.
I believe it's 1:6 scale, right, Jeff?
Yeah, 1/6 scale.
There you go. So Tie Fury is 1:6 scale, so bigger than you think.
Yeah. So in the Prusa slicer, you can take any piece and just pull it below the bed, and it'll just chop it off.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah. So that's how I decided, where my cut point was going to be.
Cool.
And then, so I did that, and I started the print on the big printer. Obviously, it fits, thank God.
Right. Barely.
It's like 5 millimeters below the max, front to back.
Oh,
so it fits pretty good.
That's a tight squeeze.
Well, I mean, you can fill the plate to to take up all the space, right? Just
right.
Here. So then I sent it off to print, and it printed. This total took 4 days to print, and I happened to come in. You see these areas here? They're kind of recessed. Yeah. So in my sanding and priming adventures in the last 3 weeks, I forget. Sanding in these depressions, these ones aren't too bad, but there's a lot of other places on the kit where it's really hard. It's a pain in the behind.
So are you saying that sanding in those caused depression?
No. These are designed in. Right?
Yeah, I know. I'm joking.
Oh, I see. The depressions.
I got it, Brian.
Yeah, the depression is emotional.
R.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
All these jokes are free.
Somewhat true. Anyway, as I was printing it, it got to the point. This depression is actually the lowest horizontal surface in the whole model, or this print. So I'll flip over to the slice view. So this is where we were. This is where I noticed it in the print, and it was like, hey, what if I pause the print, and sanded it?
Oh,
so I did.
You have it.
Shit. Okay.
And then this is the next one. So if we go, let me click on the right thing here.
That's a pro level move right there. I forget you can pause prints. So that.
So it would be roughly there. Now I can sand this part. So I did that. And then if I had thought of this before I started the print, in the in the slicer, you can tell it at this layer pause, right? And beep. Right. So I could just let it print, and it would beep, and I'd sand it and let it go again. But this had already been printing for 2 days. So it was too late for that. So there's other spots. I think I got these two parts here sanded. But then, I had to sleep. I had to go to work. So I missed that one. I missed that one. I missed all the rest.
Gotcha.
Oh, the thought was
now you're dealing with all of those tight little areas.
That's okay. I saved myself a lot of pain. Sanding in this little groove would have been a real nightmare. So I don't have to do that now. Hooray. You're right. These little divots here will be a bit of a pain, but they're small. It'll be okay, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. That is a toughie, huh? How do you get in that? Because even like a D400, like the David 400, which goes in and out like linear style sanding, won't work because you'll just bottom out. And then your old shaky side to side, like a Proxen, is the head going to even be small enough? And if the head was small enough, what how long is your sandpaper last? If it's small enough to fit in there, like
Yeah, I've
your
gone through a lot of
lasts for
sandpaper.
half a
The
second, like
Proxon would
put it,
probably
it's done.
fit the divot.
Right.
So yeah, that's enough CAD.
Cool.
Let's
That's cool.
go back over here. Find the right button. Oh, I got to turn the
I was
lights on.
put it on a mill.
1 sec.
Woo!
It's a little dark.
Look at that thing.
Oh, ho, ho.
My
we go.
God.
So there we are. To be honest, it looks like a couple of
fantastic.
parts are done and primed. They're not. They're still imperfections.
Oh yeah. I bet there's still a bunch of abnormalities and
Parts of
'cause you're
the
gonna-
forehead camera look actually pretty smooth.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
You got me
it's-
fooled.
That's the crest we didn't see last week.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
probably the closest to being done. Probably one more round.
Got you.
The orbital
Reminds me of
sander
my
has
floppy
not
days.
been as useful as I'd hoped.
Oh no, there's too many complex things, and I bet the backer on it is too soft to do anything well enough. Right?
Yeah, it's all right.
Oh.
So these big flat parts for the power sander get in there.
Mhm.
This is all still puttied because it all has to be done by hand.
Right.
Keep it shape.
There's those wings I was talking about last time.
Yeah.
In this
Look great.
particular model, yeah.
Pop up. Thanks for sight.
There's the new base.
Looks great.
That's the old one.
Yeah, a lot more stable.
Well, yes and no. The old base was printed on, I don't know if you can see it in the background, but I've got a little Prusa printer back there.
Uh-huh.
It's printed on that one. And the new base was printed on the big one. And they're slightly differently calibrated.
Oh.
So I got to do some work. That magic polycap inside the head. I'll probably have to reprint that because
it's a little loose. I
Oh.
gotcha.
yeah, it was nice and snug on the old base.
Right.
But
Could you just print a bushing for it?
I might be able to if it's not like if it's a medium-sized bushing versus a very thin bushing.
Sure.
Why don't you just cut the connection point off the black base, glue on the one from the old base, and put a rod through it for a little extra stability? Take a lot less time than printing out a bushing.
Yeah, but is it strong enough, Kyle? Is the thing. Like
You can make it stronger.
Yeah, like how clean of a
A
cut
wooden
can I
dowel.
make?
Put a wooden dowel right in the middle of it. Bam! Now you got a good.
no,
It
I
just
think
feels
that,
like an opportunity to spend a lot of time for a result I don't like, and I end up printing it anyway.
I just think it's I think
Yeah.
it's if it's feasible printing a bushing or purchasing a comparable piece of material or applying a comparable piece of material, if it's like a styrene that you can just like heat up with a heat gun and kind of like form round, and then use that as a bushing to give it the strength or whatever that it needs, but not have to reprint the whole base or have to do anything ridiculous.
So I haven't actually measured what the difference is yet.
Yeah, sure.
I had one thought, like put felt around it.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Something
But
like that. I mean, that'll wear
if the
out.
gap was really
eventually,
big, I would consider doing that. Once I find out what the
Right.
actual gap is, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But just reprinting the orange polycap inside, changing the dimensions of that one column,
Right.
I think that probably good enough.
Yeah.
And that's nowhere near 4-day print. That's like 5 hours.
Okay.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
thinking it was a lot more than that. Okay.
No. Yeah. So what else is new on this? I had the melting. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's pretty obvious here. See that little curve?
Yeah.
Right,
Oh yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those two parts ended up in the sun and melted. So I got to reprint those.
Oh.
It's a
Yeah,
shame
it
they
was
didn't
kind of a
melt the same, because then you could be like, oh, it's a new stick detail.
No, they didn't. But
Damn
it's more than just the melting. It actually doesn't fit the part now it's supposed to mesh with.
Yeah, it looks like it changes. It changed a bunch of. Well, I mean, because it's all interlaced, right? It's all there's like a structure behind it, right? So
Yeah, there's a gap that shouldn't be there. I'm zooming as far as I can go.
you're good.
Between that
I-
little wing and that part, there's now a gap that wasn't there before.
Yeah, because if it slumps, it pulls the sides in. It's all
Yep.
liquid, so that's a bummer.
So yes, don't stand outdoors for long. The sun is
Lorenz-
dangerous.
Lorenz asks, "Are you going to pair it with a 1 to 6 figure?"
A 1 to 6 figure of what? Of Banniger links?
Benager.
Benager.
Menagerie. It's a menagerie, I tell you. Question. Old Z, the old Ronin says, "You can pause anything with nipples, Kyle."
It's true. But you also end up with HR, so you got to be careful.
There you go. Oh no.
I kind of borked the eyes. I think what I'm going to do is reprint it, but in CAD, I'm going to actually separate the eyes from, whatever that part that's behind the eyes. Because sanding around the eyes, the distance they stand out from their little backing is really small, and sanding it, I kind of gouge it around it. It's ugly.
That's dangerous area to have to work.
Yeah, so I think reprinting it with the eyes carved out, and then I can sand and paint the eyes separately, and then just glue them in is the way to go.
Cool. Well, it also gives you options. So you could do clear.
Yeah, I could print them in translucent PETG or something.
Right. Or you could vacuum form them over a buck.
Yeah. Still filling those gaps, those seams that I have in there. And here's a piece you didn't see last time. There's the back of the head. And because before it was just exposed, right? You could see that orange polycap and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it zoomed in too far.
You're zoomed way in.
There we go.
Still,
That was
nice.
like, I've seen that part. That part looks familiar. But
Yeah.
okay. That looks nice.
Yeah,
Is there any other part of it?
Thing?
No, that's the whole thing. There is
Was
an
that-
artifact
was that
right
Julio?
here.
Oh, yeah, look at
How are you going to paint this thing, dude?
I have a spray gun.
Like a big one?
It's a mini spray gun.
Yeah.
Have you haven't seen the whole? See, that's the deal. I forget sometimes that I've known Jeff for a while and we participate in several different forums. So Jeff has this amazing spray booth that he can set up.
Well, it's not big enough to paint this thing. This
Yeah,
is
you
actually
need, like,
sitting
that
on that
car
spray
shit.
booth, eh?
I was thinking back to the.
That is my
I was
spray
thinking
booth
back
right
to your makeshift one that you had with all the tarpaulins hanging, all the tarps hanging up, and
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
did I take pictures of that? That's how I painted the falcon here.
yeah, I know that was. I mean, that was like on Alex's Discord stuff. So
I don't have
Yeah.
the space now to put that tarpaulin thing up down here. The laser cutter's there now.
that's okay. Better trade off. You don't want to spray like that in the house anyway.
Yo, could you put that helmet on?
No, it's a model kit.
Yeah, but it's big enough.
Yeah, it's not hollow.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's what I mean. It's a model kit. It's not hollow.
Hollow it out. The fuck are you doing?
Just go in there with the Dremel and just
Right.
pour it out.
It's gonna be normal.
Oh,
Last
geez.
last time we talked about it, Paul made an observation that sanding this thing would be like trying to sand a bowling ball. Well, obviously, I'm doing the work with it not assembled like this, but
Right.
assembling it is like assembling a bowling ball puzzle.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
You did it magnets, right?
There's no magnets here now.
There's no
Pins,
magnets
right?
in it?
No.
Oh,
The
pins?
back those holes are for.
Oh. Are you
Aren't
going to put any
magnets
magnets
strong
in
enough?
it?
I don't need
Yeah.
them. Once
you
it's
don't need 'em?
together, it's not going anywhere.
Okay. Cool. Not going to take it to any shows?
No idea.
Do you go to model shows, Jeff?
Sometimes there's a big one here in October. I don't know if with the weather changing, I don't know if I have it painted by then.
Well, that's all right. You can still take whips to model shows.
Yeah.
They just don't get. Obviously, you don't really put them into judge, but it'd be a great talking place.
Yeah, well, even if they used to have a table for whips. I don't think they
Oh,
do
cool.
anymore.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing. Like, there's so many differences with other countries and their shows. That's cool, man.
yeah. But what we usually do is the local Gumpla group will get a table and we can set out, hey, we're a Gumpla group and we got a bunch of kits and this is what they look like. I can use that venue. Oh, yes.
It's cool.
Here's that Nick sensor I was talking about.
Wait. Oh, right on.
It's a Bluetooth device.
Mm-hmm.
And you just set it down and it scans it and you get your paint codes. Bleep.
Wild.
Instantaneously, man.
That's real cool.
Your color is black. Oh, okay, cool.
Sherwin
here's-
number 42.
Yeah, the RGB. Here's your RGB code for it.
Yeah, the cheap version you get RGB, something called CIEC. I don't know what that is. And something else.
Cyan, indigo, and shit. Tabs. What's the other one?
Mm-mm. Who knows?
And I think you get hue, saturation, something, HS.
Oh, cool.
Something. I don't know. I'm not a colorologist, so.
It's cool. I'm studying. And I think I'll study for the rest of my life. It's fantastic work.
So yeah,
That's
Oh,
amazing,
there's a bunch
Jeff. That
else
thing
with
looks
it.
so cool. Even just as a work in progress, that thing just looks cool, chilling there. Like it's so dynamic and imposing. It's got such presence in the workspace. That's really cool.
thanks. I like it.
Well,
I think I
Imagine
might.
if you didn't like
if
it.
you didn't like it, you wouldn't be doing it.
Like I hate it, but I have to finish it.
I've been there.
Well, no, I mean, when it was raw prints, I really loved it. And then as the sanding and priming went, I loved it a little less. As some of the parts, the ones you see that look finished, which aren't, got closer to being finished, as my enthusiasm has been going back up. This part here and the cheeks are going to drive my enthusiasm back down until they're near finished.
right.
There are so
pretty
many nooks
complex.
and crannies.
Well, it's like they say, how do you eat an elephant, man?
Yeah, one bite at a
Bite
time.
at a time.
Sweet.
So just
I
think
wanna
about
eat a
it too. As long
fucking
I was thinking, like, because it does come apart, you have these things. Most of it's in pairs for the most part, right? Or each form has like one side or another. There's a parting line.
Yep.
You can as long as you can break. In my mind, this is what I would do: is I would try to break it down into working on opposing sections at the same time, and to try to keep things mirrored so that I can match things as best as possible. Maybe.
Yeah,
Or I would be
tough.
using like bevel gauges and shit to make sure that, or I guess cheap people use angle gauges. A bevel gauge is a fairly expensive tool, but
So the one on the plus side of using this PLA, and probably PETG too. I haven't done any parts in PETG. It's pretty resistant to sanding. It'll smooth out, but it's really hard to screw up a corner.
okay,
Like,
that's cool.
It's pretty hard to round off an edge like that.
Right.
So it's fairly forgiving.
I would think there'd be more of an issue of like over planar surface. Like you might like a plane might sag a little bit as you're sanding it, depending, or like things might shift a little bit. But if you're saying it's like got enough back to it that you're really just working only superficially on the surface to ensure that
the
the
parts
commonality
don't
is
flex.
perfect. So that's cool. That's cool.
There's no
I'm not
flex.
worried about flexing. I was just thinking about how, if depending on what you were using, you would eat through it.
Yeah, I'm being very
sanding.
careful with that. All my sanders right now, I made some foam sanders, but I haven't really used them yet. I printed a bunch of sanders. I don't have any
Yeah,
down here.
are you using block sanding for it to maintain
Define.
like a block sander versus versus like a foam sander. Foam is squishy, a block is hard. So
On a curved surface, I've been using some foam, but mostly rigid sander. Yeah.
Yeah, because you made your sanding blocks, and like that's right.
Yep.
Did you have your stuff on? Because wait, I guess I have some. I have some here. Because like this would be, this is like foam. It's like your nail foam style foam sander, right?
Yep.
And
Give me a sec. I think I got one sander in the next room.
There you go. And something like this would be more like a block sander, even though Jeff's not there. So for those in the audience, so this is just like a little armature that holds a band of sandpaper. You can turn it around.
There.
And it's a block. It's like a block. Yeah, it's like a sanding block.
Yeah.
Exactly a sanding block. 100% a sanding block. And you put a strip in there and you swing around. That's actually more like a sanding block than this is to a degree, because this is just like a weird, cool device.
It's like a
Yeah, and it's the
pinpoint
same
kind of thing,
material
yeah.
as the one I'm sanding. So
You can like rotate the sandpaper around it like this so that you don't.
Would that be considered like what do they call it? Interspecies crime? Plastic on plastic crime? When you're using PLA to sand PLA?
well, it has protection.
It's just rubbing itself.
Yes.
I think that
has
Geneva Convention
sandpaper.
would like to have a word with you, Jeff. Committing war crimes over here.
Incest is best.
Whoa.
Keep it in the family.
Canada's weird. Shit.
That was a Canadian Army thing. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Unless anybody,
right.
if there's anything anybody wants to see, I can rotate and tilt.
Oh.
So you're printing the chest now?
No,
No?
It's not doing the
No.
This is it, man. This is it.
my second mortgage application was denied,
Oh.
so
Yeah, that's
can't
a
afford it.
lot of plastic you're going to have to acquire.
Yeah, it's
I've done a rough estimation. It would be at least another 100 kilograms,
Wow.
and then God knows how much primer and paint and all that
yeah, and
stuff.
all the snapping.
Insanity.
This is a large enough project, I would say.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I probably do heads for some of other Rocky Q models, but maybe not 1/6.
Right.
Something a little smaller.
Yeah, 1/6 is very
112 or
ambitious.
124th.
1/12.
Yeah, cut it in half.
Yeah. Get a little bit smaller.
It would be dramatically smaller. It's funny how scaling works.
Yeah.
Julius
I mean,
asked,
I'm
Exponential.
guessing that at 1/6, this is probably the easiest scale to sand compared to 1/100.
Mm.
I mean, it's smaller, but there's still the same nooks and crannies, right? I guess you just won't see a lot of the mistakes because it's so small. But
Jeff Julius asks, do you do commissions 3D printing?
God, no. I'm
He
not.
wants ahead.
I'm not efficient or proficient enough to economically produce a 3D print. And that would mean either you're sad as the commissioner because it costs more than it should, or I'm sad because I'm losing money.
Someone.
So let's keep everyone happy and just not go there.
I'm excited about my 3D printer. I've said this before. I'll keep saying it. It's going to stay in the box for a while, but I'm stoked to get it eventually going. I'm actually I'm also pretty stoked to do some 3D designing. I haven't done that in a long time.
Brian, it's a drug.
It's a drug, man. He's not wrong.
1/12 would be cool, maybe to go the whole suit, or maybe something 1/24.
Yeah, 1/24 would be pretty tight.
Yeah, because at this scale, 4 meters is just too high. Steel frame.
It's
I talked about
unreasonable
that
at that
last
point.
time, right?
Yeah, we joked about that. I said you just make concrete footings poured into the ground to hold it up.
Yeah.
Like a couple of basketball hoops. They got all twisted up into a robot. Wild.
Just looking at the comments. I couldn't see any comments while I was doing that little prizzy.
Ah.
Yeah, I totally think a 1/12 would look fucking dope, man. It's big enough for like that awe factor.
Oh, I quickly want to show something. I'll have to set it up. I've been for a long time. I've been chat pals with Joshua Dara, and we kind of fell off for almost a year. But he came to me the other day with something pretty cool. So, and I have gotten his. There's two things. One that I wouldn't really need his permission, and one that I do, and I've got the permission now. So, let me figure it out.
Nice.
I guess everybody knew except me that someone in China has made a resin kit of his Zeta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Recent
three of us
development.
knew. I don't know. I mean, I know Pabs knew out there, but I don't know how many other people out there in the audience knew anything about it.
I want to mute myself. That's making way too much noise.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Thanks, man.
It's for you, Pabs. I'm being spatially aware.
Pabs is editing video or editing audio right now. I wonder who he's going through. Which show? Yeah. Julio, what are you working on, man? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Doing this guy.
Let me go give you a big screen real quick. Look at that thing.
Oh my god, leave. No idea where that part went, but I had something in here.
Okay. I hope you
He's
fun.
working on his dude.
Nice.
Detailing,
Uh-huh.
getting him done.
Looks good.
He's working. It's still got like that same frame, just a little bit more mean. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I like.
Dig it. I like
I
it too.
need to detail up though. That's the only thing I'm missing. Then I can start painting.
Cool.
Yeah, buddy.
With it. Looking good.
Thank you. I'm trying here. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
That poor guy.
Yeah.
That poor guy.
Lots of stuff has happened.
Oh, that picture's so
Lots of
small.
places. Oh,
Can I make it bigger? Nope.
You zoom in, Jeff.
There we go.
Yeah.
So anybody who has followed Josh for a long time knows that he did a custom Zeta for GBWC a while back, and he extensively documented the work that he did and put it in an ebook. A pay what you want ebook, and if everybody wants that, you just go to joshuadara.com and you can get it.
yeah, it's fantastic.
What, are you gonna print this thing?
It's a resin kit.
I'm saying, are you gonna print one? No.
Why would I? How would I print one without a model?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
The
just,
fuck are you
yeah.
showing this for then?
Because it's cool,
No,
and
because-
I've ordered one.
Yeah, because he
You
ordered
ordered-
one.
You
Yeah, Josh is okay with it.
bootleg resin
Josh
from
is-
your buddy.
He's
Josh
filling
is
in
okay
for
with-
Pabs. It's resin news.
Yeah, pathetic resin news. No, I talked to Josh, and he suggested that I ordered it.
Oh,
So
cool.
yay!
Oh,
Is
Hey,
he
Julius.
seeing any
Happy day.
revenue from this?
Say again.
Is he seeing any revenue from this at all? No.
I didn't ask. I kind of
Mm.
doubt it, but
I hope he is, because that is definitely his model.
oh yeah.
There's only like some minor differences, but it is pretty much one for one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably buy his ebook again and give
Ah.
him some money.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
I forgot I have that. I have it saved in one of my Gumpla inspiration folders. Got it a couple years back.
Yeah, I was like one of the beta readers of that. It's such an awesome resource.
I know. I'm glad he documented as much as he did because it's just
Yeah.
so much before and after shots and everything. It's like, yes, delicious.
a
So
lot of his,
Julius.
I like his breakdowns. Yeah, good night, Julius. Happy date night.
cheers.
I like Josh's breakdowns where he'll like go through a part and he'll do like a little bit of a mini explosion on it and have where he got the other parts from. Or, like where you got
Mhm.
the parts, or and so
Yeah.
that's
Show the
I,
kit
I
and
love that shit.
everything.
Step by
Yeah.
step through the whole process.
Mhm.
Amazing. The other thing he shared with me, which he says is okay to share, and I got to set it up again. Hold on.
Mm.
It's more pointing OBS at the right page.
Sure. I don't use OBS. I still pay for XSplit, even though I don't use it.
Mm.
Oops, that's the wrong thing.
It's
There
Good
we
thing I
go.
got spare screws. Fuck!
Did you lose screws, Kyle?
One of the screws locked in the hole from
Oh.
like resin getting in there, and now I'm starting to strip the head. It's an Allen head.
Fuck, man.
I was like, ah, shit. So I got enough of it proud of the rest of the piece, so I'm just sawing it off. I have spares, so I'm just gonna saw it off and then use some vice grips and go get the rest of it out. Ooh,
this is
what
cool.
is that?
So this is what he's been up to lately. He's been taking
Ooh,
Oh,
bins
that's
of spare parts and making cool little
Making a
spaceships
fish?
out of them.
fuck
That's
yeah.
a fish,
Ooh.
man.
That's
Yeah,
a fish.
Yeah,
that's,
it's a
that is
fish
totally a
spaceship.
fish. It's
It's
so
like
cool.
the old thing that Tim used to host, the Verka build offs.
the Vercube or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Verlogic.
There we go,
Verlogic,
Verlogic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Josh did one of those one year as well.
that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
his thing.
I should bring those back. That was always fun. Never got a
Mhm.
chance to do one of them, but man, look
Here,
at
let me,
that.
Look at this solo here. Just the margins.
That's fucking cool. Has he painted any yet?
Yeah, some of them are painted. He says he's hand painting. He's really enjoying it.
Nice. That is some Starfield shit.
Oh yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, so I'm glad to be in touch with Josh again, and
Yeah, what a blast.
I guess you kind of fall off the map when Zach moved back to North America and those live streams stopped.
Mm.
Oh yeah. I feel like he had kind of removed himself from things were getting dramatic for a while. I feel like he wisely removed himself from a bunch of crap and just kind of like laid low.
Yeah, and
Makes
he's
sense to
having
me,
fun.
man.
He's
Yeah,
big into puzzles and
Yeah.
now this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Just
actually
some kind of
talked
puzzle.
me into buying some puzzles. Like well, mine were beginner, but he's into the hardcore expert puzzle stuff.
Those things
Yeah,
are wild. It's good though.
There's-
It's good for your eyes and
There's so many puzzles. There's
brain.
like high-end puzzle masters out there who machine things out of aluminum and they sell for like $500.
Sweet.
Very low volume, right? But very
Yeah.
high
$5.
quality and
It's art. Man.
hardness.
Sure.
I don't know how best to say it. Yep. So
Cool.
that's that stuff.
Fun. I think. Yeah. Julio, your mic is feeding back or oscillating very slowly.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's not his mic. Julio is oscillating slowly.
Yeah, around us.
Oh no. Wait.
Is it
gone.
better? It's gone.
Wait. Oh, now it's back. Wait. Oh yeah, it's there. It's all
Chris
right.
said in the chat that he's no longer needed because I showed some resin.
Mm-hmm.
Not the case. Not the case at all.
No. I was thinking we should maybe add resin news to would you break it, Kyle? Nice. Hey, all right, that thing uploaded. The interviews. Let's see. No, Chris, I was thinking about we should add that to the podcast.
Oh, resin news to the podcast?
Yeah, have Pabs do a resin news on a podcast every once in a while. We could I like that, Julio. It looks tight.
Right?
Looking
barrel.
Won't be
snazzy.
the same without pictures.
I like the drum magazine.
Well, it's okay. I'll just explain it for the audience because I'm so descriptive. I'm sure I'll do it justice.
Pretty cool, man. It's very swoopy.
So there's like a bunch of edges, and I think these are new panel lines. Yeah, those are panel lines of various widths and depths. Yeah, and like it looks like what it's supposed to look like. A thing. It's a robot. Yeah, it looks like a robot. So here's another robot that's from like an IP I'm not familiar with, but Paz will correct me. Yeah, so it looks pretty cool. It's a magazine.
All that armor,
yeah.
man. And it's got guns.
Yeah, it's got a drill. Drills are cool.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Oh, here you go.
Yeah, I'm all for this.
You got this from a friend, Barry Bediger from Small Subjects Podcast. He sent me a couple stickers. Start with those.
Nice. I actually had a couple I was going to be putting in here in the bag. Oh no, they're from Plastic Mojo. You're going to get Plastic Mojo stuff in the bag.
Nice. I like that. I like Plastic Metal Mojo. Those are my boys too, Dave and Mike.
Yeah.
But on the Small Subjects channel, they're doing a Hysterex build, group build, and he sent me this Hysterex model.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I forgot you
It
showed it
is.
to us
Yeah,
when we
it's,
recorded Saturday.
crazy. Yeah, it's a crazy tiny little guy on a horse.
And a horse.
So I'm gonna be doing that coming up, which is all right.
Exciting.
There, it's pretty tight. I gotta finish the mecha bust from the OMC mecha bust for the bust build thing that was going on with them too. And I'm gonna finish the Critiqual Vercor build off
I still got that guy too.
model.
I am not building that ever. It was so small. I gave up on it quick. I was just like, I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. It's too small.
Not small enough, Kyle.
No, that was good.
More opportunity for Kyle to drive me insane. Probably not a good idea.
Hmm?
Throw it off longer, Julio. These guys are taking too long to notice. I saw him
Or
stick it up in
ignore.
front of it. I saw him stick it up in front of his face. But
Yeah, so you can see the whole body because I can't really get like the whole body here.
Oh, yeah.
So I was doing this thing.
So Kyle, do your descriptive video for Julio's build for the resin news.
For the
on
audio,
podcast.
that's the weird audio YouTubers. Well, we do have some vision impaired audience members, I'd like to assume. So it's got like some cords running down its abdomen, which is pretty badass. I like that. Some chest plate armaments that have holes for that aerodynamic,
I was thinking about
kind of like
filling those in,
wind
honestly.
speed holes, if you know
Speed
what those look
holes.
like. Yeah, speed holes. It's got some hex pieces for like armor attachments. Some of them sealed, some of them not. I like what you do with the head. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Nice little build out there. It's got a bunch of shoulder shield
Mhm.
things, like a full
'cause-
armor.
He's a samurai.
He's a samurai. He has a samurai sword,
Mhm.
very long samurai sword.
Very,
So it's
very
a Misiwa sword. Pat's
Misiwa.
gonna hate me for butchering that name.
Oh
I'm
my
only seeing the upper half though, so I don't know what the legs look like.
The legs have-
the
it
legs
just
are
got
white
filled
as
in.
well.
They just
They
got
look
filled
pretty
in
cool.
so far.
You
Once
can add some
like
pistons.
it's a solid color, it won't have all those crazy holes. That's what I really was like. This thing is too holy for me.
Too holy. Okay.
Yeah, it's way
So
too
it's
holy.
gonna be
for
less
me.
holy. He's gonna fill those holes.
Yeah,
it's designed for things to like kind of plug and play all over it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
that
way
hex
too
core
much.
spiel.
It's way too much.
What's the name of this guy? The Vthor?
Ethor, yeah,
Yeah,
The war.
I like it. That's a pretty solid build.
yeah,
Even before you started doing something to it, it's like it's got a lot of potential to it,
yeah.
and you're just spicing it up, and making it even cooler.
Ice baby, bing, bing, bing,
Delicious.
bing, 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 bing.
So can it stand on its own with all that
Yeah.
weight on the back?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
God, I didn't think those legs were that stable.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
This
good.
is all solid and shit. They added onto here.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's got a rifle with a barrel magazine.
Yeah. I had to fill that in
Drum.
too. It was too much.
The drum magazine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, right. You
Sand
got
that
me.
all down.
Aha. I said the same thing
got a-
earlier, Kyle.
he's got
So
a
like the
big
barrel.
ass.
I mean, drum. Thanks.
He's got a big ass. It's a
They
weird
say he's
ass
got
with the big
Got
one.
that wagon.
It's all because he
Yeah.
does this stupid
He's got
shit.
that dump truck.
That dumpy. Oh, come on, what are you doing? There we go. Because he does all that shit and all this.
Oh, look at them thrusties.
This shit, like, so you
The
can get
boy
in
can
there.
fly.
So I can throw that dude, that little guy in there.
Oh, wild. It actually
Yeah.
has a
Oh shit!
It's
Oh, so it's it's exo armor. Exo suit.
Yeah. Fucking cool. For the ceruleans.
The ceruleans.
The ceruleans.
With
Yeah.
this year's
great.
color being green.
Mm-hmm. So mostly all the white's going to be green. Different.
That's gonna look so badass, man.
Yeah, when it's done, it's
Rick
going to
has
look
a
fucking
good
cool.
idea. Rick suggested that resin news be an IG reel thing.
Yeah.
I like that idea, and Pabs has perfected the reels.
Truth.
Gotten really good at them. So yeah,
We're right. You're right. Right now, we're writing checks for Pabs to fucking cash or whatever to pay out. So maybe we'd let Pabs decide that.
sounds like an everyday thing. We're just keeping up with the regular stuff we do.
Don't know if I
Look
should
at a head.
use this little head or this little head.
Thrusties, yeah.
If it would
That's
focus.
what's the term I want to use?
Chiasm?
Fuck. No, not
Chiasm?
chiasm.
It's
No,
close to
not
it.
chiasm. No,
Thrusty thrusties?
I'm trying to use the nomenclature. It's
Got you.
come here,
It's your
guys.
jargon.
You know what I'm trying to say?
No
It's your-
idea, Kyle.
No idea.
No idea,
Well,
bro.
So there's like you call
Like your
something a
industry
bell
speak.
housing versus like industry speak. What is that
Yeah,
term?
jargon.
Not
Jargon.
jargon. I wouldn't say jargon. The technical term. There you go. The technical
Sure.
term or association with that.
I have a bit of constructive, I hope, criticism for the podcast. The outro music is playing 4 or 5 bars before the end of the file, which is nice. I like the outro music, but I want to move on to my next podcast, folks. How about 2 bars?
Well, no, that's the transition period. Like when the song drops off and the new song comes in creepily. You
Mhm.
want a harsh.
No, don't
drop.
care. Most podcasts, it goes beep beep and stops. There's no outro.
Podcast out, and
That's
then
what
we're
makes
just
us
done.
different.
Hey guys,
Cold
see you later.
drop.
Beep beep. Done.
All right, next episode, I'm gonna give you the beep beep, Jeff. Like,
Mm.
all right, guys, good night. Beep beep,
No,
and then
I'm
this
not
just
saying
dies.
you don't need the outro.
There'll be
I like
there'll
it.
be like a 5-second pause, and then Pabs will start playing the outro music.
Yeah. It's like you
That would
switch
be
over.
worse.
It's like, why is there still 5 seconds on this episode? What the hell?
I know. That's why I'm laughing so hard.
Well, let's
Pay
say you
for
guys
the
say
whole
goodbye.
song.
So
You listen to the whole song.
you guys say goodbye, and I manually jump to another podcast, and now my list is riddled with your podcast with
Segment.
a minute or less left.
It's like, would you like to listen to this episode some more? You're like, why? I've done. What's
Yeah.
left to listen to?
Yeah.
I've moved on,
Maybe we have-
boys.
Maybe we have hidden messages at the end of the message, and only the dedicated few know these hidden messages. Little after credits Easter egg. We're doing the Marvel thing.
Sure. You guys should do an after show.
That's what this is.
There's a bunch of B-reel you get on that Patreon. Like a lot
Sure.
of B-reel.
I'm kind of Patreon saturated right now.
That's cool.
That's the
No
downside.
worries.
There's so many,
But yeah.
so many people you want to support. There's a limit.
Yes, no, that's true.
I have so
Um,
many monies.
Sometimes, yeah, there is a lot. Sometimes it's like 40 minutes of B-roll.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then there's an hour show.
Mhm.
Though the last few times we've been mild on B-roll.
B-roll.
Like this last episode we recorded, we were like, "All right, hi guys, how you doing? Good. All right, let's get into it." Because
It was
we
pretty
were in
quick.
a bit of a time crunch, so we wanted to get right into the topic.
That was lowercase B-roll.
Yeah,
Okay, B-roll, nice.
it's kind of it was B. It wasn't B prime. It was what's the next from a math
Pabs
geeks?
says the one that comes. Yeah, the next one after Nice. Well, of course. I think it's because Z was with us, wasn't he? After Nick, there was the next episode, and Z was with us. That's why there was a bunch of B-roll because Z was being hilarious, and we were all joking around.
You guys got on a Batman tangent for a hot minute, and then there was
Yeah. Things have been a little bit less raucous since I stopped drinking, so I'm a little less wild, which is good.
You still got it in you, Brian, and it's good.
Oh no, of course, because it's just part of my person. But if I am drinking, I can like turn it. It does get turned up. So
Turn that bitch out.
That is only 5 minutes of B-roll, Pabs. I am only giving them
Careful.
a trailer of the B-roll. You're not
I
getting the
didn't
whole
even-
clip.
I didn't. Abs, if it's worth it, I didn't even hear what he said. No offense, Kyle.
No, it's fine. I say a bunch of shit. It's just you gotta keep the critical shit and get rid of all the nonsense.
There's only so much a human brain can handle.
I'll be back in a sec.
Okay, Jeff. No worries, brother.
I don't even know how
Oh.
my head keeps up with the thoughts. I think that's why I word vomit. It's just don't think about it. Just say it. We don't have time to process what you're about to say. Get it out. Get it out.
I hear where you're coming from, but at the same time, maybe not the best course of action.
Little AMSR.
ASMR.
Yeah, ASMR.
It's an AMSR.
Is that not right?
Good.
ASMR.
Yeah, but you said AMSR. That's cool.
I thought I said ASMR.
You said AS. No, you said AMSR.
At first.
AMSR. That sounds hard to say. I can say SMR all the time.
ASMR.
But that's what
AMSR.
you said.
That's what you said.
AMR. I can't even say it wrong.
Roll that tape.
Go to the YouTube, play it back,
Roll that tape.
roll it again.
FDM.
Filament the material.
Everything Kyle says.
Here, I'm gonna give you guys a little insight. I'm not even under the influence doing any of these recordings.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if we should be like concerned with that realization or if that's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Well, everybody's got their own special quirk, Kyle, and you're just kind of a genuine guy.
I don't know. I've made comments about how I am a little bit confused, or not confused, but concerned with my mental capacities.
No, that's true. You have mentioned it a couple times.
Was
I don't
FDM
remember
ever
being
cleared up?
Yeah.
No,
Because I'm
Yes,
pretty
it
sure
was.
it's fused deposition manufacturing.
There you go.
no, it's fill it the
Full of
material.
the material. It's full of the material.
No, filament is definitely not the F. Fused deposition. It's just the M I'm not sure of. I think it's manufacturing.
Nice.
No, Pab says it in the episode. He rectified my mistake, which is pretty much on course. If it wasn't for Pabs, I'd be running around the world saying all kinds of blatant bullshit like, "What is going on?"
Even
Stop
with
this,
abs,
man.
you still do it. It's just part of.
I know,
who
but
you
he
are.
helps keep the podcast
know.
somewhat.
Yeah,
He reins
What's the
you
word?
people in.
but
Uh,
gotta have
what's-
somebody.
Yeah. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me.
Come on, Luna.
Full of the mints. Full of the
Down
mints.
in the deep blue sea.
Come on.
F is for fire, burn down the cities. U is for uranium bomb. N is for no survivors. Down in the deep blue sea. You guys know that episode of SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, totally.
Come on, guys. I wasn't the only one watching that shit.
I don't remember
Yep.
the song.
I mean, it's
Honestly.
a good song.
Not me, boss.
It's how I learned how to spell fun. It's a core memory.
Uh,
I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I was like a teenager by the time that show came
gonna
out.
say, look and see when SpongeBob was on the air. When it started, we'll say.
I totally watched that shit with my little brother.
That shit was good. Even when you were a teenager going on, it still kind of had some funny moments, and you're just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, it's still on TV, but
It's still on TV.
I don't think they're airing
99.
anything new though.
It was 99.
Yeah.
Yeah. With
I was 20.
who was the
I was
guy that made SpongeBob?
20.
Didn't the guy
What do you
who
mean?
voiced him pass away?
Tom Kenny?
Yeah. No, I think that the creator passed away.
The creator.
Tom Kenny was on was it Mr. Show with Dave
Yeah.
and
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob
Odenkirk.
Oden.
Bob
Yeah, there we go.
Odenkirk and David
Odenkirk.
All those shows.
Yeah, no, Tom Kenny's so good. He was on a lot. He did a lot of voices for a lot of different things.
Yeah. It's crazy how SpongeBob was the biggest. Shit.
I was
All
there.
right.
And then Bill Fagerback, wild last name, who does the voice of Patrick Starr, was the voice of Dauber on Coach, the TV series
Yeah,
Coach
dude.
back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, really?
Coach was awesome. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So at the start of the live stream, I was talking about why I stopped modeling when I joined the army.
Yeah.
At the same time, all these shows you guys love, I didn't even know they existed until they were, I guess they're
Busy
currently-
fucking
Long,
through the
long into
trenches,
syndication.
shitting it in your hand and throwing it.
I was too busy blowing up bridges and clearing minefields and doing
Yeah.
some-
Sapper. You were a sapper?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah! A buddy of mine that used to be my my troop. He went Air Force to Army, and he became a sapper.
Clearing
Follow the
lines
sapper.
was wild, dude.
Hell yeah!
That shit
First
was
in,
wild.
last out.
I forgot what movie I saw. Oh, it was fucking with the Polish gold. What was that? Fuck, dude.
Dead Snow? No, which one?
No, it was
That was about that.
the movie after World War II. The Polish guy finds the gold, and the Nazis are trying to get him. What was that?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Indiana Jones?
No.
Yeah. Temple of
Remember,
Doom.
it was brutal
Yeah.
as shit. You saw it.
Oh, the recent one that came out, right?
Yeah.
Sisu? Is that what it's called?
Sisu, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Sisu had that minefield in it. It was
Guys.
fucking wild.
Right.
Oh god,
Yes,
seriously,
yeah.
come on. I got the head of the bolt off, and I still can't get this shit.
Hell,
Ah,
place
damn
was,
it.
exactly.
Countersunk. Ah!
What are you doing, Kyle?
I have to cut the bolt off because hold on. Let me get myself orientated correctly. There you go. So bolt
It's stuck.
tip of finger. Yeah, it's because there's like resin built up that got into the crevice, got into the threads, and I was stripping
you-
the head, trying to get it out
Did you-
because there's so much tension.
There's
Did
a
you think
drill
about-
head.
Heating it
Oh, you could heat it too, yeah.
Oh yeah, good point.
with a hairdryer so you won't burn the metal.
Now it's almost near impossible to heating it because there's nothing to grab onto.
No, you
Yeah,
just heat the body. The metal on the outside will heat up,
Yeah.
right? It's all
Well, no, I
aluminum,
mean like
or
there's nothing to grab onto to then bring the
because you cut
thread
the
out.
head off of the screw, right?
Yes. I forgot these were countersunk. So as I'm cutting the head, there's still enough of it on there to keep me from pulling the plate off. I'm gonna go
Kyle,
mute
go get that
myself and
speed
just
out.
grind out. I'm gonna grind it out.
Kyle, go get that speed out, bro.
Yeah. Do you have a reverse drill bit?
Yeah.
I do, but
Strip
nothing
remover.
nothing for this small.
Nothing that small.
Yeah.
Can you? Okay. Yeah. You don't have any left-handed. Obviously, it's way too late to be having a left-handed drill bit at your disposal. No, that's not going to work because you already have removed most of the head. You can't Dremel a slot in it and turn into a slotted screw.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grind out the outside of that because I don't need this plate just going bye-bye and getting replaced. So I don't mind marring it. I'm gonna come in
Oh,
there,
why don't you just
grind
cut a
that down,
slot?
and then get enough of it off. Yeah.
Just get your Dremel out and cut a slot in the screw, slot in the head, and turn into a slotted screw.
It's soft aluminum. It's gonna start breaking apart.
Oh,
So I need to get a vice grip on there so I can get nice tension to
is
be.
it aluminum screw?
No, actually, it's not aluminum.
I'm
It's
guessing it's stainless.
stainless. It is stainless.
You should probably. Why don't you if you
That's what
cut a
Chinese
slot in
shit.
it, right? If you cut a slot in it and mar the face of the plate you don't need anymore, you're still going to be able to use the slot, or you can still, if you have to cut the face off of it and then use the vice grips on it, you can still do that with the slot in the screw. But I'm going to
True.
suggest what you do is you cut a slot in the head of the screw to use a flathead screwdriver, and then heat up with a hairdryer or heat gun, heat up the body of the thing then to try and just crank it out and go like, work it a little bit forward and backward to kind of get it going. I feel like
Yeah.
you're gonna have a better
Run the
chance
threads.
than just like really going ham on it. Like you know.
Well, I mean, I was getting it to move. It was moving stout, and so I was just steadily providing pressure and getting. And okay, all right. And I was spraying some alcohol into the thing, working it through. Spray some more in there, let it sit. Then it get, and then this little pop, it popped, and then took a chunk of this. I was like, oh, the Allen head's not going to work anymore.
Could you use
Too close to the sun.
Could you use a chisel and just chisel a line into it and try to?
Yeah, I have a
What I
cold
was saying.
chisel. I could do that.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like cut a slot.
Yeah,
But I can
cut
just Dremel. Yeah.
Yeah, Dremel a slot into it and turn it into a slotted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Well,
what I would
here,
do.
I'm
We got
gonna mute
this,
myself. Throw
We got
some my
this.
pro. Hey, I got means. I mean, hell, I can fucking cut the whole
What
thing
is,
in half.
what
and
is
go,
it stuck in? Like, what is that?
So this is the bottom of the build plate.
Oh,
And
for your 3D
it's-
printer.
Yep, and
Ah.
I'm getting a flat kit that's going to replace this ball joint setup to a flat setup, so it matches one of like way the more modern build plates are attached to the Z motor. or
How do you
Z
level the
motor.
plate with that?
Well, so this one's just going to have 4 screws
Okay.
attached to the side on a slide rail, and then you level it out, and then you tighten all 4 screws.
Yeah. Cool.
It's much more accurate than this fucking ball joint that the way it's all based on tension and pressure, but it can still move if with enough force. I
Excellent.
hate that. The other ones I can
Fucking
crank those
machines.
fuckers down, get some nice friction fit. And my other printers like that, and I fucking love it. I haven't re-leveled that head in 2 years. I have no issues. Like this one, I had to fucking re-level it every other week. Just did not feel like it was good enough.
Yeah, both of
Interesting.
mine are like that.
Yeah, that's why they did away with this design, because it's just not really the best.
Good intentions, just didn't work out.
Yeah. No, yeah. I
Right.
mean, and that's the thing I like about what companies have been doing as of late is they take some of the faults and some of the modifications that your everyday users made to make the system better. And hey, I like that. We're going to implement that on our next model. Rather than going, we're going to keep giving you this shit and you're going to have to keep buying aftermarket. They're like, no, let's take some of the feedback we've gotten from our users and implement it into the next design. So
Like automatic resin topping up.
yes, that's the newer ones have that.
Yeah.
Like the Anycubic M3 has an autofiller. It's great.
When I print on the
Wow.
Phenom, there's no way. Like it'll take almost. I can put more than a kilogram in the pan,
Mhm.
but if I'm printing something big, I'm gonna go through all that and have to
Yeah.
fill it halfway through.
And 3D printers don't have that, like, oh, you're running out of 3D resin, we're gonna stop your print to save it like the FTMs do. You're out. It's going to keep going.
And they
no one's
could.
really wiser.
They could if they wanted to, right?
See, I'm curious how they would do that. Would they do it like a pressure plate that senses, a certain weight to volume, and they know, okay, we're getting to this point. It's at like 10% capacity now, so we're gonna. I don't
Must
know.
be some kind of optical sensor that could be used.
True.
Yeah, I was
if
gonna
like
say
a laser
something
gets.
like that.
But I'd wonder if because the build plate coming into that would cross paths with the sensor and throw. I don't know.
Sure, it's an engineering exercise for sure.
Could be
Yeah.
a thermal thing too, depending on how sensitive that kind of stuff is. But
That thing is, and
know.
then you start getting into costs. Like, does it make sense to pay for something else?
so here's the question then. So they have the autofiller. How does the autofiller work?
So it fills up once you hit
Magic.
print. You just
Does it constantly fill, or does
I think
it?
fills
run and
at
then
the beginning of every print. I'm not fully aware of what it's set to do. I just know it puts resin into it.
See, that's
like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's
so
cool."
I'm just asking. I'm asking like
Yeah.
hypothetical
No,
questions. I don't expect
That's
you to
good
know
though, because
answers. It's cool.
I am curious because maybe what we're wondering about is already been solved and they have it implemented in their current lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if there's one that is a lot like Jeff was saying, his problem is he has to refill the bin midway or the reserve midway. If there was one that would get either have it keep it topped off like a hamster feeder or something like that, or like or what it sense and then administer. But that would need like you'd have to have like a solenoid and some sensor, and then it's like a whole other mechanical thing to fail. Plus, if you're using a solenoid to administer resin, there's going to be some level of heat. There's going to be a level of pure resin buildup.
Well, and on top of that, resin fucks up a vast majority of plastics. So I'm kind of curious if like the tube's made out of ceramic or something, because it would have to be a
probably like
material that can withstand resin flowing through
yeah.
it.
There's, I mean, I
having
guess, but without
reside
exactly
in
without dissolving or
Yeah.
Well, there's
brittle
it-
I
or-
mean,
it
there's
fucks
plastics
plastic up.
that are okay with it, right? Because the resin comes
Yeah.
in plastic bottles.
True,
right. Is that
that's
what,
true.
It's probably like polypropylene or something like that, right? So some sort of thing that you wouldn't normally use.
I forget the containers are made of plastic.
The real issue is stopping UV, right? Because it's UV cure. So
Yeah, I mean that's
It all
that's
has to
easy. Just
be-
have a very oblique container, and
Opaque.
then no sun getting in
yeah,
there. Opaque, yeah, not
opaque,
oblique.
yeah,
Not a body
Oh,
part.
slow
Got
it
some
down.
obliques in the container to get nice and.
There you go.
Do I have those up here? Did I put them? I have them up here. Here we are.
Working with a tray that takes 1 kilogram of resin is a pain in the butt.
It's
Yeah,
got to be a lot.
imagine, man.
Just sloshing around. You're like, oh shit.
Well, if you have to drain it right, if you have a print fail, or
Mm-hmm.
what I did was I bought it's called a peristaltic pump.
Oh,
It has a rubber tube that runs through it, and there's these rollers. So there's none of the pump actually touches the resin.
right.
So I use that to pump out.
It creates a siphon through it, doing the roller things like this. It's
Yep.
what they use in hospitals, right?
That's
For
exactly what
certain
it is.
things. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That took away so much pain.
I would have thought like siphon, but that's just horribly dangerous. And like,
Yeah, I'm not putting resin in my mouth.
you could buy you can do it. Like there's a technique you can use to do it, but it's messy. It's not good. It's okay for draining a kiddie swimming pool if you need to, but not or a trough.
A trough.
Yeah, trough of water.
Trough.
Trough.
Yeah, buddy.
The resin.
Remember,
Lasagna
don't forget,
trough.
I'm from farm country. I may
Yeah.
not sound like it, but I am.
I want a trough of lasagna.
Wow,
Yep.
that's a lot of lasagna.
Here. Random question for you guys. I'm from the fucking future. Look at this shit. Anyway, when you think of chicken parmesan, what do you think of?
I think of chicken with sauce and cheese.
Chicken parm, breaded chicken breast, usually
Yeah.
white meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like marinara or with a red
Over some
sauce,
pasta?
and then some cheese. Yes, with or without pasta. Doesn't have to have pasta, but
So I have this fucking coworker that's like, yeah, every time I think of chicken parm, I think of a sandwich. I'm like, what? No, that's not the traditional way of making chicken parm. Is breaded chicken with marinara and cheese, Parmesan cheese, and then served on pasta. Where the fuck do you get sandwich from? I'm like, no, dude. Every time I've heard of it, it's only been a sandwich. I'm like, what? Where the
It's
hell
like,
do you get
where,
this?
where
food?
did you first hear it? I was like, oh yeah, the Italian place, Quiznos.
Yeah. We went to Rosati's. That's where he got his from. I was like, bro. I'm not even Italian. I feel offended by this statement.
No, and I've had chicken parm subs, but I've also had
They exist,
like-
but that's not the when you think chicken parm, you think of its traditional serve,
Spaghettis.
style
It's like
versus
it's like, oh yeah,
it's
you've
unorthodox
had
method.
you've had meatballs, right? It's like yeah, meatballs. You get them in a sandwich.
yeah, meatball sub. But
Come from the
no,
subway.
meatballs, spaghetti
Yeah.
meatballs.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go deep dive.
All right, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out if this works with Kyle. So I am tired as hell, but we are staying on to find out if Kyle is successful or not.
Yeah.
I am vested.
Oh, Josh is in the chat.
Hey, Gosh,
What's
Sarah.
that, man?
Dude, those little ships are fucking fantastic, man. Well done, and it's good to see you
Yeah, those are cool.
texting in the chat. We had Zach on last week, and Armita was on too. Of course, buddy. We were always having fun. You too. Stay safe. Yeah, we had a good group. Was trying to get see if Joel wanted to come on tonight or Zach or anyone. I would just throw it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. We get John Lynn on here so we can catch up on what she's been doing. She's been doing a bunch of stuff. The Tuesdays have been so busy with the podcasting and all the other commitments that we haven't been doing the Josh thing. We haven't been doing the what the heck is it? The Robo Dojo. So that's been kind of like slacking. That's a good thing, Josh. We should talk to Tim about that. It's weird the lag with the chat and all that. But yeah, if you're still listening to this, Josh, we should talk to Tim about that. Get Tim back into doing something fun and little. It's kind of like the thing behind the OMC. Like you don't have to build anything gigantic, even though I always build gigantic shit. But you can really just like have fun and be creative and make anything of any size. It's just about like having fun and using the parts in a fun way. And Josh is nailing it from the stuff that we saw earlier. It's just fantastic. I love that. It's so fun and like minimalist. It kind of reminds me, you guys know Lego, obviously, but the little like mini vignettes and stuff that Lego artists will make out of like common stuff that just looks so cool, like implied geometry and implied themes. It's just really cool stuff. I like it.
Yeah. Good observation.
Try.
If you're still here, Josh, hi. Love your shit.
That's
All right,
George
bye.
Michael talking.
Yeah. He does. You're like 90% George Michael, 10% Dr. Disrespect.
So, yeah.
Oh, burn.
I want to be more like I'm like what's this fucking hell piano guy, Elton John. I'm a rock man.
Gay old guy.
I don't think he ever rocked a beard.
Yeah, it's true. He never did. Well, I'm the cooler version.
Well, I
of
don't
him
know,
now.
Jeff. Did he ever date any girls?
I think he was briefly married in this.
Well, I'm like ZZ
Yeah,
Top
that's the
pretends to be Elton John, but Elton John, Rocket Man. I don't know how to integrate the two. Anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about. Cut the slack, Kyle. No, I was saying that because I was Oh, George. That is good. I like that. Oh, here we go. Josh says, yeah, the fun in any size thing. So I agree. I so agree. Minimalistic is it as well. Applied geometry. There you go. Showed it at my art class with disadvantaged high school kids, and they love it. Well, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's great. A long time I wanted to be an educator, amongst many other things, but I thought about trying to be an educator, but the whole like American school system is wacky. It gets so not really my thing. And yeah,
How's it going, Kyle?
thumbs up. He's still got his thumb. He's not there. I don't
Thumbs
see
up from
geysers.
George.
I don't see geysers of blood, so I feel like he's in good shape at the very least. Let's see. Oh, I had a conversation with the boys from Just Making Conversation in the UK, the podcast last night. It's going to be out next week, Monday. So on your podcasting platforms, and then I spammed them with a ton of pictures because you know how it goes, and of the things that we talked about a little bit. Try to cover the bases. It's stuff I was thinking through today, though. You know how it is when you have a conversation in these kind of formats or whatever, and you forget to answer certain things or talk about certain things. So because the way conversation flows, especially with me or for Kyle for that matter, the way conversation can flow from one topic to the next very quickly. Oh,
Cheers,
shit, he got
Josh.
it.
we did it, boys.
Yeah,
And hi,
good shit, guys.
Josh.
Look at the
Got it.
remnants of what I have left to remove. Oh, it's not even that hot.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Ah, it burns.
You're such a weirdo.
Kyle just lets his intrusive thoughts run free.
You're just out. Just
Yeah.
runs
I don't know
wild.
if you heard me talking earlier. Like, I have so many thoughts. I can't filter it all, so I just let it fly. Like, fuck it, let it ride.
Let it ride.
The world will forgive you.
All right. So, what's your plan? Vice grips, or what are you gonna do, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna vice grip it. That's such a small head to try to balance a fucking screwdriver
yeah.
on at
No,
such
that's
a height. That's just waiting to slip and bust knuckles. Yeah.
Now that you have all that,
That's lots of grabbing
heat.
surface. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I can just. All right, let me go to the garage and grab my vice grips.
Boys, rip.
I don't feel
are
like
you gonna
using
heat it up?
my big boy line pliers
Okay.
and then hurting my wristies from having to grip it all the time.
Wristies.
Ergonomics, man. Let the tool do the work.
Yeah, but
Let me put this grindy bit
It's cool.
away.
Well, Kyle, I'm glad that you got your components apart. I am just exhausted. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut down the stream.
yeah, buddy.
Good night. No, just like click. Done. No,
Wait, how do we have to end it? Doo-doo?
on to the next stream. Here we go. Ty says, "I get you, Kyle. People ask why I laugh at my
How improv jokes.
because a lot of the times I don't even know what I'm gonna say."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Jeff, thank you for coming through and showing us all of your fantastic work.
Yes. Love the
Admirable
updates.
stuff. I hope you get as much painting done as possible before the weather shifts hard.
My pleasure. I'll come on again later and show more
Yeah.
updates.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Please
may
do.
the odds ever be in your favor.
May the primer be in my favor.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And Julio and Kyle, I'll see you guys. I always see you guys. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Later, brother.
I know where you are. I'll
And-
see you.
Remember,
I know
2
where
bars
you
in the
guys-
outro. 2 bars in the outro.
There's no bars in this outro, brother. But I do want to say thank you to everyone. Listen to Built Sideways podcast. Listen to all the other podcasts out there on the Scale Model Podcasts.
Consortium.
It's not Scale Models. It's modelpodcasts.com. That's what it's called. I'm going to write it in the chat. www.modelpodcasts.
So, just for your own sake, Jay. So this is that ball they have here. This lower half that's flat is what's attached to the lower part of the build plate, and then this has a concave side and then a flat side, in which a screw goes to, and it just applies pressure, and that's what locks it into place.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a bad idea, but also not the best because I mean the level of smooth friction that's happening here, it's not a perfect science. So
Micro movements and whatever. Can
yeah,
cause-
exactly. This can over time, even though there's not a lot of force being applied to the bottom of the build plate, that just because you can tighten the hell out of this thing and just go to the point where you can't even move it yourself, but that's gonna slip eventually. It's not a perfect connection. So
Maybe if they etched a pattern in the smooth part.
yes, that would be better to add some more friction. Up the coefficient